really what this last sheet is kind of a summary of all the different strategies. So I'm going to do different strategies on each of these problems. But what I would like to do first is concentrate on the last problem starting with F, and then the kids that don't have any other questions, which is going to be a handful of you, I'll start you on the spiral review. Does that sound good? So let's do F through the end, and then I'll pass out the spiral review to everybody that needs it, or whichever ones you're stuck on. So I'm going to do F first. Olivia, question?
Oh, no, it's just there.
You're going to help me?
Yeah.
Okay, so on F, I started it before I turned the recording on, but let's go back to F. 8 out of 12. I'm just going to try to show you how to get the answer. The correct answer is either one of these, 66.6 or 66 2/3%. I'm just erasing that so I have a little more room. And so make a ratio table. And every time you start a ratio table, you have a couple of strategies. You either want to look at the bottom number and say, can I easily multiply that up to 100 somehow? If you can't think of an idea, then you could reduce it down and see if it's a benchmark fraction that you recognize. So this one does reduce down. What do you divide by, Olivia?
Divide by 4.
If you divide by 4, then this is 2/3. Okay, and so right away, some of you, that's all the information you need, because you know that 2/3 is a benchmark fraction, and that's 0.3 repeating, or 0.3333 forever. And if we look at place value, this is the tens place and the hundreds place. Percent is per 100, so your percent would be 33.3 with a repeating bar and a percent there. Oh,
Yeah.
but I did I did 1/3, didn't I?
I was looking at that.
Were you wondering?
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost my focus.
I thought you were going to multiply it times.
I could, but I really mostly just lost my focus. 2/3 is 0.66666 repeating. And so using place value tens, hundreds, this is 66.6 repeating percent. Sorry about that. So that's one way. The other way, are we okay on that way? The other way is to go ahead and continue with your table, multiply by 100, and you get 300 here. So then you have to do the same thing here. You get 200 here. So for a benchmark fraction, this is a lot of work, because if you have it memorized, it's quick. And you want to use benchmark fractions by memory if you can. But if you don't, or you forget, you could then divide 300 down by what to get 100? By 3. And so you have 100 here. And so then you have to do a little more scratch work. And the good thing about that is it makes you practice some of your old skills. So you have to divide 200 by 3. And we did that a lot in the beginning of the year, long division. So if I divide 200 by 3, 3 goes into 26 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract. You get a 2 and bring down the 0. How many times does 3 go into 20? Andy?
3 goes into 20. Well, I actually know, I think I know the answer.
Okay, so tell me how many times 3 goes into 20?
6.
6. And 6 times 3 is?
18.
18. And so one of the methods we used was writing this as a fraction, 66 and 2/3 from the 3 that we were dividing by. And that is the exact same thing as this. So you could also write your answer like that. That's your percent. That's why this is your final answer.
Wouldn't you bring down the other 0? I mean, I know that you're right, but still. because you only brought down 1 0%. Like, once you got that 2.
Yeah, right. I did it. You're right, and I didn't. Nope.
No.
I think my work, Olivia, is just a little.
Yeah, I understood.
6 goes into 3, 18 times, and I brought the 2 down. What happened was my work was a little lopsided. I have all the zeros brought down. They're just a little shoved to the right, so I'm going to erase this.
Oh, now I see.
I didn't line it up very neatly, but they were correct. So the 2 was here. I brought the first 0 down. We got 6 times 3 to be the second 18. And then I had a 2.
Sorry, I thought you were bringing down the first 0 first that time.
Yeah, would it be easier if I just started again for you?
No, it's okay.
You okay with that? What's going to happen if I erase there?
Or just trust on Jim. Oh, just tap it.
Are we okay there? Okay.
I was just.
No, you're right. Okay. So let's do another question then. I want to skip G. That's our most difficult, so we'll save that for a few more minutes. What about something else on this? What other ones were challenging for you guys? Anyone? The rest of them you're okay with? Just G?
I got 62.2.
Well, let's do G then, and then I'll go back and do some of the basics. Okay. G is 1 out of 12. So that's a hard one because it's not very easy to think of how to get to 100. But here's some strategies. So let's have everybody turn around. One strategy would be divide by 2. You might not think of this by yourself because it's not very conventional, meaning that it's not something you would do a lot. If you divide by 2, you get 0.5, right? Half of 1 is 0.5. And then you get a 6 here. Then you could try that multiplying by 100. You get 600. And when you multiply 0.5 by 100, what do you get? 50. Now I can divide by what? 6. So when I divide 50 by 6, 6 goes into 50 8 times. So you've got a 2, right? Remainder. When we subtract. Okay, and so it's 8 and 2 what? And that reduces to 1/3 because we can divide the top and bottom by 2. So it reduces to 8 and 1/3. And that's your answer, 8 and 1/3%. Option B is to do with the long division. And that works too. That works too. Josie.
I did divided by 4. The 12. Yeah. 1.
And then did you multiply by 100? So you got 25. And then you divide it by
Then I divide by
3. And you have the same answer. Say that again, John.
I did times 50 from 1 to 2.
So then you got 600. That's good. That might be better for a lot of people. Let's do that. Oops. My board's just kind of being weird. So look what John did. 1 out of 12. He times it by 50. I like that. Great idea. You get 600. Then divide by, you might divide by 2 at this point. 25 and 300. And then divide by 3. Good idea. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Isaiah. On I. do I. Let's see, Connor, let's pass one of these out to each person for me while I do I. Thanks. So if you don't have any more questions, you can quietly work on that spiral review problems 1 through 10. Let's do I. Okay. Try to stay focused while the papers are being passed out, class. Let's have your attention up here. So to do I, you have to take this information and go back to the idea of the table where we have part to whole for two different things. We need the total. So Andy, what number would I put here? What number would I put right here?
11.
11. And here?
14.
And the total? Okay, Isaiah, does that help get you started? That makes sense? And so now you can just multiply this number here by 4. That's 100, right? Or you could double and double if that's easier for you. Might be easier to double and double, but multiplying by 4 isn't too hard. So you get 44% boys, and then 4 times 14 is 56. And remember, you should check and make sure that these two numbers add up to 100. And they do. So you're either working on the spiral or you're following along with us. So Larissa, what percent is girls? 56%, good. Okay, and what percent is boys? So turn around so you guys, right? Yeah. You should be writing this down, right? Oh, next one. Or you were just answering?
Yeah.
Who else has a question? So you're all ready for your quiz Wednesday? You can do this perfectly? Okay. So,